Welcome to TeddiTalks, the podcast where we have open, revealing conversations about being female, being healthy, wealthy, and wise throughout generations. I'm your host, Teddi-Jann Covell.
And I'm your co-host, Nicky Lynn.
In each episode, you will get to hear real stories that shaped us. We will be vulnerable and honest. It's girl talk, talking about things that few women talk about but want to know. You will learn, laugh, cry, and maybe even get angry. But Nicky and I have your back. We support you.
Yes, we do.
This is a place for support and enlightenment, and our mission is that you will find your own positive voice throughout our stories. Sit back, relax, join us on this incredible journey of growth, resilience, and empowerment. Hello, beautiful gems. I'm Teddi-Jann Covell. I am many things, but social marketer, artist, a businesswoman, and I'm here with...
I'm Nicky Lynn. I am a registered nurse and the founder and CEO of Arnon Wellness Lounge.
And so we are here, season 2.
Season 2, episode 2.
2 and 2.
And how are
We
you?
have been...
How are you, Teddy?
Oh, good. But I just want to say, we're talking our format, shall we say, the blueprint is around one of our professional, personal coaches is Mel Robbins' book, Let Them.
Professional personal coach. I mean, I think she's everybody's professional
She's everybody's
coach
friend
right now. Yeah.
She says that.
Like, I'm sure on TikTok, on social media, you've seen Mel Robbins and all of her little mini reels, and I aspire to be as influential as her one day because,
yes,
like, I really think it's changing my life. What?
Yeah, with their help.
Oh,
if you subscribe to our page here on YouTube. But we talk about things that are on people's minds, but maybe they don't dare to say.
Yeah.
So we're talking now about how we feel about certain things like that really get us stressed out and things that cause stress. And
like how cold it is in Maine right now.
How it was 0 this morning.
It was 0? It was -6 where I was.
Well, that's when it was.
Was
when
it?
I came back from walking the dogs at 6:30. It was 0.
Ew.
Yeah. So
anyway, yeah.
So stress is. Does anyone know what stress is? It is when your body and your brain switch between two functions so fast that you're just like stressed. You're like filled with anxiety. You are not knowing whether you should fight or flight type of thing. And that affects your well-being. And we are going to talk about some stories that we were stressed out about, and what you can do to prevent that. And one of the big things is breathing. I know it sounds crazy, but when you take a giant breath, and not just a little one, but fill up your lungs, kind of your belly breath, and let it out. Nurse. What does that do?
Slows your heart rate down, stops your fight or flight. It basically resets.
Stimulates the
vagal nerve. Which is why you pass out when you hold your breath. You take a deep breath and you hold it and you pass out. Stimulating your heart rate goes down, your blood pressure goes down, and you pass out. And so, way to go, body. Bring you back.
Yes. So the vagus nerve, though, sends a message to your brain. Calm down. Mm-hmm. And how do we get stressed out? I know.
Well, Teddy, I think that we went right into some deep science here.
Right.
Let's just start back with this weekend.
Yeah, okay. This weekend, the Super Bowl. How many people watched that?
Right.
Okay, so being a Mainer.
It was just football to me.
Well, my husband's a football coach. My dad was a football coach. My son is now a football coach. And football's part of the family. But you know what? I don't give a crap. Sorry about the Patriots aren't in there.
So you're not a football fan. You're a Patriots fan.
No, I'm a football fan, but I didn't really care about the Super Bowl as a who wins, who loses. No, I'm not. I wanted to see some good plays. There were some good ones, but it was kind of a downer because it was...
It was kind of a skunking.
Yeah, they got the Chiefs. If you haven't looked at any kind of information in the past couple of days, they lost.
Taylor Swift's team lost.
Yeah, Taylor's boyfriend's team lost.
That's Taylor Swift's team.
Yeah. And people can be mean and not like her, but as a person, a very creative person myself, I definitely identify with her, not to her extent, of course, of being so talented. And she's basically a genius and brings so much, not only as a poetess, a musician, and a business person. She's just knocks it out of the park. And oh, by the way, anytime did you know that anytime her concert tour, when she goes to a city, that metropolis earns millions and millions of dollars from the revenue from her fans going to buying hotel tickets, restaurants, and their bottom line is like up for the year anytime Taylor Swift shows up. So she has a lot of clout when it comes to that as being a very savvy business person. So, anyways, I wanted to see her. But what?
Let's bring her to the waterfront concert.
Yeah, oh, jeepers, that would be great.
Because Arnon Wellness Lounge needs millions of people. So to come in and do and see them. So bring Taylor Swift to Maine.
Right.
Anyway, so
the Super Bowl. So I didn't really watch it much.
So the halftime show is the number one. It's kind of funny because it really tells a story about the difference between our age and my children's age. So they had the rapper on, and I grew up Eminem, old school, all the old school rappers. And so there's rappers on. I never heard of them before, and my daughter was like, how could you have never heard about, Kendrick Lamar? And I was like, I don't know. And even my husband was like, you've heard his song before. I was like, I don't think I have. So I'm listening. I had to listen to the song before I actually listened to the halftime so I could appreciate it. So there's great big controversy over this song. I don't need to get into it here. So I'm watching him, and there's a divide on social media because the people in the older generation are like, that was so boring, that was dumb, that was whatever. And my kids are on the couch like, woo-hoo-hoo, and it was just like, okay. So anyway, that's just kind of one of those things that's right out in the front and center. But
well, because I am more of a football fan than a music fan, even though I love so many artists, old and new. Like Teddy Swims, Beyonce, all these Grammy nominated and winning.
You're a cool Grammy.
Yeah, I don't have any grandkids, but grand dogs. But it was I was kind of, I think, was it 34-0 Eagles at halftime? It's like, this is a blowout. I don't even know. I'm reading a good book, so whatever.
The energy,
I'm finishing a painting.
The energy. So, and I found that, it was pretty, like you were like, we're a football fans, and so we just when it comes to the Super Bowl, we pick a side.
Right.
But we kind of go for the Chiefs. And because it's Taylor Swift's team. And so when it was like you were just really excited, you're really motivated, and you're like, come on, and they do the interception and they do a turnover, and then you're just like, oh. I could feel the energy go, and you were saying it yourself. You just said it. It because they were so ahead, we gave up on the hope for the Chiefs. And at halftime, they did come back and they did get a few touchdowns, but the energy that you feel when something positive is happening, or there's a potential for something positive to happen, your energy is really high. And then when you feel like you're getting defeated, your energy really, it takes a hit, and
a big hit.
So, that is really something I saw also, was that when you are we're all electric people. So sitting next to you, Teddy, I always feel high energy. I always feel positive energy. It's just the way it is. And this podcast is very different from last podcast, in that my energy was different, and the air was different, and my mood was different, and, seasonal affective disorder had really kicked in. And this week is a little bit different. So you can almost
I think it's because we saw each other more.
I think we did see each other more, and we did some self-help things.
Which is something you must do.
So you did something for yourself.
Yeah, well, I did two things. Today, I got a massage, but also Sunday morning before the Super Bowl, I played ice hockey, and in a league. Now, in my mind, I'm still in my 20s, but
Teddy, I can't even be on skates, so...
Well, I mean, you could if you learned how to skate.
I don't want to.
Okay.
There's a high risk and high probability of injury if I got on skates.
Well, I fell, but because I'm in shape, I mean, you're gonna when you play ice hockey in a sport and you're going after a puck, and, it happens.
I won't lie. I mean, Teddy, the doctor asked me if I exercise every day, and I do. The way that the effort that it takes me to get into my Spanx every day, I'm sweating by the time I'm done. That's daily exercise, and that's about all I do.
Well, here's maybe TMI, but I couldn't stand wearing those things. I definitely, could have some things pushed in and made to look streamlined, but I can't even breathe. So I'm not
it's exercise to try to get into it.
It is.
So
sorry, Spank.
Let's go to our book. So the reason that we have our podcast is really to bring things that affect us, and stories that we have that really kind of change our mindsets and changes how we think about things. And, if it's affecting us and if it's something that's helping for us, then we feel like it would help you too. So we're in chapter 3 and 4 right now of Mel Robbins' book, Let Them.
Right. It's right here. And it basically talks about stress, and how in this, she talks about a story about she's on an aircraft, and we'll talk about that in a second too. But the person behind her is coughing and won't stop, and doesn't cover his mouth right behind her, and it's just driving her berserk.
And I love that she explains that she did the passive aggressive turnaround, because I have done that.
Oh yeah.
On the airplane. And it's because I'm not a good flyer. I think that this is our air traffic controller, and then this is me who says, please don't make me get on a plane. So when things are going on around me, and there's a kid screaming or someone's kicking my seat, it takes so much of my energy to keep my anxiety under control that those things just twitch me off. And so I have done
you're a health person.
Could you keep your kid from kicking my seat, please? So in her story, she's saying...
Mel's story,
she's saying like she did the passive aggressive thing, but then she realized something is that really everybody should cover their coughs, especially flu season. But when people don't.
Well, so you have a couple options. You could say, okay, like her says, just let them cough on you, let them. But then when you take your breath and calm yourself down.
A short breath, because you don't want to catch their germs?
No, correct. I mean, if it was me, sometimes I'm not, as smooth as all that. And I'll just say, hey, buddy. Or you could call the flight attendant. Can you, get everybody a mask around here because we're all going to be infected or something. But
do you think you're already infected, though, in that plane?
You are. That's why I wear a mask anytime I fly, FYI. And so when you breathe, and if you don't have a mask, like Mel Robbins did not have a mask, she chose to put her scarf over her face and put her headphones on, probably to hold the scarf up, and drown out the sound of his coughing, but protect herself. So once you say you cannot control somebody else.
No.
You can only control what you do, which brings up, I work for the Federal Aviation.
What does it bring up? Oh, so Mel Robbins says that the urge to control things comes from the and she quotes, I quote her, primal place of fear. And so that makes a lot of sense to me. That made a lot of sense to me. When something doesn't go as expected, it feels like a reflection of yourself, or it reflects on you. So when I am trying to calm myself on an airplane, and I will do the headphones, I will, don't tell us we're changing planes or anything, because I'm going to miss it. Because once I get in the seat, I've got my headphones on, I start crocheting because I just need to count stitches. And I'm trying to do the things that keep me centered and block out everything around me, because I know how it affects me. I don't ask everybody on the plane to just stop talking. I have decided that this is what works for me. And the reason that kicking my seat, delayed flights, anything really, the person that sits next to you that doesn't really smell very good, it's all outside of an expected, what you're expecting, and that comes from a place of fear. And it if I can just control all of this, if I can control all of this, then I won't have to be afraid. And really, that's normal. That's a normal response. That's how we were designed. But what she's saying is let them, instead of trying to control them, asking him to stop coughing, then start looking at how you can control and take the power back for yourself and control where you are in that situation.
Let me just preface everything, too, since I worked 30 years as an air traffic controller, the United States has the safest air transportation system in the world. All other countries base their procedures, technology off ours. And I got to just tell you that because I have to defend the profession that I was in for so long, but some people are saying, oh, yeah, well, other countries have good technology. Well, let me just tell you, they're using United States technology. And the whole country of Germany does not have as much air traffic as Boston Logan. Okay, just so you know. And there are many stellar, top-notch, state-of-the-art technology companies that develop the radar, all the technology, computer interface, and that other countries will test it, say in Germany, to see if it could even handle a fraction of what one city in the United States. So we're the leaders in the world, okay? And that is why every pilot on the planet has got to speak English.
Is that true?
That is true.
Oh, wow.
everybody has to speak English because that is the standard for the world. Safety is number one. And so people have also said incorrectly, well, there's 39 different systems. Yes, that's for redundancy, for security. If we had one system and somebody pulled the plug, then we would be quite up the creek without a paddle.
This sounds like this is stressing you out.
It was until I had to tell everyone in a podcast. This is why I'm breathing.
Yes.
I
can feel your energy. Teddi.
Yeah.
Like I can feel how tense you are right now.
It's safest place to be is on an airplane in the United States. Mm-hmm. Okay? That is a fact. You can check it. But the thing...
Amanda, everyone needs to pause. So just take a breath.
Take a breath.
Okay.
Well, and also, if you are getting into a situation where you're fearful, maybe you should look at all the good things about that situation. Like, you're afraid to fly. Check, like, okay, the weather is good. Check different things to make you feel happy.
I actually had to go on a work trip, and I had to go by myself, and I basically had to boss up and do this, and it was I'm taking my deep breaths. I'm doing all of the things that I need to do to coping. I literally had to have, Teddi, I think I might have told you before, I had to have therapy in order to take my first flight. Like, it's not like, oh, I don't like flying. It's just, I literally was in a panicked state and needed therapy, and I had to have like EMDR, where they do the tapping and they like walk you through like the flight and everything. I did it multiple times in order to get on my first flight. So these are the things that I forgot what I was saying.
to get yourself ready.
This is my
therapy
ADHD brain.
To get yourself ready for the flight.
Yeah.
And that's
you were saying, that you were saying to do things to calm yourself.
Right.
So that's one of the things I had to do to calm myself. But,
But just know you're in the best hands on the planet when you're with flying.
So I was doing these things, and there was two pilots, because when you go to a shuttles, a lot of times the air crew will be on the shuttle with you. Like shuttle, not the shuttle to the moon, but the shuttle.
The little bus that takes you to the airplane if it's not on a gate.
There was these really, really attractive man and woman, husband and wife, and they were in their gear and chit-chatting, small talk, and I was like, wow, I'm really...
Passengers.
Yeah, because they were headed to the airport where I was headed, and I said, I'm really nervous about flying, but I'm doing really good. I'm taking deep breaths, and the wife moved up from the back of the bus, and she sat next to me, and she said, we're both pilots. And she said, let me look at your flight path for you. And I was like, okay. And she opened up her little iPad, and she said, there might be a little bit of bumps, here and here, but it looks like a pretty good flight path. And so she was giving me this feedback that was like, okay, so she knows what she's talking about. And when we did hit turbulence, I didn't panic because I understood what it was. And so a lot of times with fear, our reaction, our fight or flight reaction, our like ready to pounce and ready to run, is because we don't understand like where it's coming from, or that there's something that we don't.
Well, just the fact, too, when you don't understand it, but the now, except if you're flying out of any airport in Maine, it's easy to get to the airport, it's easy to park, and but it isn't that way in a lot of places. You have to drive, you have to park at a parking garage, you have to then take a shuttle, or you have to, and it's traffic.
What if I don't
lots
get
of people,
there?
And you go through TSA, and the line is long.
Have you ever been gaslit by TSA?
Oh, yeah, all the time, because I have an artificial hip.
Oh, I'm talking about gaslighting. Like when you have nothing, but they pull you aside, and then they're like, we need to do like a wand, and they pull you through the doors, and you're like, you start thinking, do I have something hidden on me? I'm not really sure. I didn't think I did, but now I'm going
Somebody planted something on it.
Exactly. And then you're like, great, now I'm not going to be able to get on the flight because somebody, while I was having a burger, put something in my bag. Oh, it can go crazy. But we did kind of go down that rabbit hole. So,
but it's on people's minds right now. And I just also what Mel was talking about in one of her escapades, talking about her different stories, and this brings upon, since we talked about job, I worked, like I said, as an air traffic controller for 30 years, and one of the first women to be in the agency. It was mostly a male, predominantly male career. Former military air traffic controllers or military whatever. And when I came in the strike of 1981. I can't even believe it. And
that's when you started working?
Yes.
That's when I started living.
I was training. And you were born then.
That's when I started living.
Okay, so I was young. Anyway, the point is that I was college educated. I was a former art teacher, but I had taken the civil service exam to be an air traffic controller while I was doing my student teaching. And, there was a hold on government hiring at the time, and finally there was an air traffic controller strike. I was hired, but they had told me I was on the register, but there was a freeze. So it wasn't like, okay, we need people, so we're going to take anybody. Oh, no. We had to go through a lot of scrutiny and vetting. We had to pass an FBI check. We had to, of course, do an airline physical we had to pass and take multiple written exams, and one of them was psychological. And then, if everything shook down, then we could go to the academy, which took, at that time, 6 months, and then training to be an air traffic controller, fully certified at different facilities. Here at Bangor, it took a couple years, and it's a long process before you're ever allowed alone to do anything. And there's always a team with you. But because I was a woman, and I just didn't get promoted, I had to do everything longer, better, more than anyone else.
And this is in the 80s?
Started
80s
into 90s. And and it was before they had the Family Leave Act. So I basically had a child, so I had to borrow my sick leave and save up and then take all my vacation leave. So there were things that weren't in place then for a woman working. And it was not conducive for a young mother to be working as an air traffic controller, because we worked 24 hours, crazy shifts, holidays, nights, weekends, 24 hours. And it is like, talk about stressful. Hello. But I had put in for a couple of promotions, did not get them. And so what did I do before I knew about Mel Robbins?
Yeah.
I became a part of the Professional Women Controllers. That's what I took.
Because Mel Robbins, in her Let Them book, says all it takes is for one person to do the right thing, and if it bothers you enough, that person is you.
Right.
If it doesn't matter enough, then Mel Robbins says stop complaining about it. Like, stop wasting your energy. And so it sounds like it was bothering you.
Yeah.
Enough. Me. And tell us about you did.
Well, this is the thing. You have everybody. If you don't like your job, you could, quit. You could start looking for another job. You could take on extra duties. You could make sure your hobby is whatever.
Working harder.
Working harder.
Again, remember Mel says that when you've got this, things don't go as expected, you didn't get your promotion, then you feel like it's a reflection on you. So you think you have to work harder, you have to stay late, you have to, and sacrifice more because you're feeling like you didn't get that promotion, you didn't get that job because it's reflecting on you, but really...
No, because most people are smarter than that. They know they're being paid lip service, right? And so I took leadership opportunities with the Professional Women Controllers, became head of the New England Professional Women Controllers, and then became national vice president. We traveled every quarter to different aspects or areas of the country, different facilities, and then became national conference chairperson. So I arranged a conference, and I said, if I'm going to be the director of the conference, we're going to have it in New England. And
so you were the chairperson?
Yeah, of the national conference.
Of the women's air controllers.
Correct. And we had an annual conference, invited the entire FAA to be there. And I said, well, we're going to have it in New England. Well, you know what? We're going to have it in Maine. So I did all the legwork to get, and I say legwork, that's what my grandfather always said, but, contacting the Chamber of Commerce's, hotels, Tom's of Maine at the time to get gifts for the gift bags. LL Bean, we gave the boat and tote bags as a part of the...
Boat and tote?
Yeah. As a welcome gift to everybody who paid the registration fee. And we had it in Kennebunkport.
Oh, wow.
That's where we had it.
What year was this?
1997.
Okay. I was older, a little bit older.
But we had
Wow.
Some great speakers. Arlene Feldman, who was head of the New England FAA at the time. And we had Tuskegee Airmen. The remaining one that actually lived in Maine spoke. We had all kinds of... So I arranged all this. That is what I'm saying. I took and did what I could do within a very constricted job. And at the time, I just got to say, I was going through a divorce, and I could not quit.
Your job.
My job, right.
So you were letting them pass you up for promotion, pass you up, whatever, discriminate against you or whatever was going on. You were choosing to just let them do it instead of having an energy about it that you said, well, I'm going to make a difference. I feel like I have a voice as a woman, as a competent air traffic controller. I have a voice here. And so Mel Robbins' second piece to let them is let me. So you chose to do something about it. And I think that that's one of the things that I think we almost miss at times. We either are just going to be complaining about this situation, that situation, get stressed out about it, waste our energy, or we're going to say, okay, well, let them, but we don't turn it around and be like, what can I do about this? How can I change this?
You always have a choice. That is the thing that this book, some people just get so flustered that they don't even know what to do. And many people feel that way today. But the point is what you have to decide, is it your choice? You're just going to...
And maybe it is. Maybe it doesn't mean enough to you.
If it doesn't, okay, fine.
Because if for me, I would say, Teddy, that I'm really sorry that happened to you, but I'm not going to pick up a sword and fight on that hill.
Many people didn't.
Because it doesn't mean that to me.
Right.
I obviously will support you in everything that you do, Teddy, because I love you.
I love you too.
Yeah, so it's at that point, though.
I mean, that's why you can breathe. Hopefully, you have friends, colleagues, family, somebody. Now you can look online at choices or options or even to get help with some situations. And you always have those choices. That's what Mel is talking about.
And that gives you your power back. So one of the, the feelings of hopelessness, the feelings of the fear, the pity puddle that you're sitting in, there's choices, and so you can choose to do something about, or I would even say you could choose to support somebody who's doing something about it, because it's
Correct.
I don't think that everyone is designed to be
Yeah,
leaders. I mean, and not everyone is designed to be a leader. That's just not their personality. But if everyone was a leader, then we would have no followers or subscribers. So subscribe to this channel.
Yes, please. And, so the thing is that when you take a step back and breathe, then we're all human beings that have brains. You think about what you're comfortable, what kind of action that you want to take, whether it's passive, whether it's some kind of active role, whether it's to write a book, write a letter to your congressman, start a podcast,
open a business.
Yeah.
Right?
Because if you're bitching and moaning, as my grandfather would say, my father too, then take it into your own hands, start your own business. Yeah, and you're going to realize not so easy, right?
That is true.
But, is it easy to go to work, get your paycheck, and be chirped at? Or
yeah.
It could be, or are you, and I hope everybody out here has a tremendous job and that they're valued and they are feeling like they're making a contribution to whatever it is they're doing.
I have a feeling that it's a very low percentage. Because
message us. We can help you.
But I think it's a low percentage because a lot of people were like you, Teddy, in that they really felt trapped or imprisoned. They feel imprisoned in their job.
Right.
And so that creates such a hopelessness. You're like, I have to work. I have to be here. I have to support my family, especially with inflation the way that it's going. And it's just like, I can't just leave my job because I'm unhappy and unappreciated.
No, because people need health insurance. They need their...
And, we can't even
retirement.
Even touch on that. Retirement. So that's why I think Mel Robbins' book is such a powerful message.
Right now.
At this moment, it's always should have been, and I'm I really wish that she had given me the let them theory, like when I was in my 20s. Because I was a scrapper.
She wasn't. Yeah.
And I would be like, oh, really? This is gonna, and then I would really let things bother me, and I would perseverate on them for days, and it was taking away from my energy. So in your work, in your life situation, and things that you can't control, you can take that breath, take a step back. But then if this is what you're choosing, if you're choosing to stay in that situation, then
you've got to find outlets.
And you got to find a balance. You got to find people that, yes, you go to work every day and it's really terrible to do, but do you have somebody you're connecting to that you can talk about work, that you can express yourself, that you have a good time with?
Well, yes, entertainment is a good outlet, but also self-care is huge.
Huge.
Now, I went to get a massage today because I definitely had stress in my shoulders and back and whatnot, but you must, and the young woman I went to today, she's a mother of a 1-year-old, and she only works
I just went stressed right there.
3 mornings a week. Mm-hmm. But she loves to get out of the house. She loves to be doing what she was trained to do. Obviously, she loves helping people. A lot of women are nurturers. I'm not saying men aren't, but there's a lot of women. And but we don't take care of ourselves necessarily.
Right.
We're always, here's the thing, and Mel even talked about this. How many women out there, or men, I don't, ever had to go pee, but didn't because they went to grab their child or spouse or friend or whatever, something to eat, or had to take care of someone else, and then they ran to the bathroom. it happens a lot
And
that women, that's just one example. If you've ever not even gone to the bathroom because you have to
had something to eat.
Or something to eat.
These are basically like like the bottom tier of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like, you got to eat, you got to take care of yourself, you have to have emotional stability. And I, as an ER nurse for 10 years, and most of the nurses that are working 12-hour shifts or more at bedside, like, so people will ask me, like, how come, like, you don't have to go to the bathroom? I have trained my bladder to not tell me I have to go to the bathroom because I don't have time.
Correct.
I have, and when...
Teachers can't do it.
And when you think about, like, oh, I think I have to, do this, you think I can't. If I do, it's almost like a guilt. Like, I'm guilty that I stopped and I ate something, It's just a weird vibe. But we can talk about that another time. But
I mean,
but it's true. Like, I had twins, and there was multiple times where you sit down, you're like, and you're about to eat, and they're like, can I have a bite? And you're just like, here you go. And I will tell you what's different now that I wish I had done then, because then I started getting very annoyed about it.
Right.
I get annoyed but what I never realized is I had the choice at that moment to say, no, this is my sandwich. You already ate your nuggets and you didn't want them. You threw them on the floor. So, but I didn't do that in Mel Robbins' book. I really wish I had back then, because I would have been either, yes, you can have a bite, and now we're not going to complain about it or make them feel guilty anymore.
Right.
Because you made that choice. Or I'm going to make the choice, like, this is my sandwich. I haven't eaten today. I deserve this.
Right. And it just makes me think of so many things. But
it does, but it's crazy when you realize that most of your actions in life are your choices. My mother, God love her. I mean, I have to love her because she's a good woman. She really is. But I think we all could use this book. But she used to say to me, I'd be like, Mom, that was really hurtful, or that was really offensive. And she would say, well, don't take offense. And it would just send me right over the edge. And now I'm like, I'm not telling my husband, I'm like, can you please, she just told me not to take offense of it. And I'm like going off. And now his life has been interrupted because now his piece is me being like, my mother said, don't get interrupted. And here I am now later in life going, there was something to that. My mother was basically saying, this is what I said, truth or not truth, whatever, but it's your choice whether or not you're going to get angry or take offense to what I say. And I was like, oh, now I can see that. And
when you bring that up, it just triggers so many things, like my mom being a mom of 4 kids. How many children were in your...
In my family, we had a split home. So in my household was 4 children.
Okay. The same thing. I mean, it's kind of like the survival of the fittest here. Charles Darwin, it's like when I saw my mom do a couple things, I'm like, how could she do that? And later she would say, because if I hadn't thrown your sister in the closet and slammed the door, I was going to beat the living crap out of her.
Yikes. Well,
I was so upset.
And she had chose that, right?
She chose it, and then she goes, Teddy, go to school. I'm like, what? Let's see.
Do you ever go to school and be like, my sister's in the closet?
My sister's in the closet, and you want me to just go to school and have a great day?
There's so many times that you say to people like, oh, you're making me angry, or you're setting me off, or you're triggering my trauma, and it's not their responsibility. It's yours.
Correct. I mean, I guess...
It's influencing you, and it's doing something, but it's not their responsibility to make you happy, keep you calm. It's yours. It's your own emotional wellness and, your own emotional intelligence. And that takes a good book, a good friend, self-reflection, time, maturity.
And oh, yes. And honestly, it's a lifestyle, too, because, it's like I mentioned before, my family was basically a sports family. My mother was in the band. Okay, so she was a non-sports person. She couldn't ride a bike. But my dad, he was a football, baseball star at Maine, became a coach, teacher, athletic director, and all that. And I always wanted to play. I mean, okay, I have named after Ted Williams, a baseball player. So I did not know, which was a good thing, that when I grew up in the 50s and 60s, that girls didn't play baseball or football. But the point is that I always participated, moved, ran, played, skated, swam, hiked, whatever it was. And moving is a big part of getting all those endorphins, nurse, and all that.
Dopamine connections. It's one of the number one things if you're in a down mood. And moving is not easy. No. Especially if you have joint pain. There's a multitude.
I can help with that.
There's a multitude of things that doesn't make it easy. But when you do, I don't want to exercise. I mean, I won't lie to you. But when I do exercise, that the way that your blood is flowing and how your heart is pumping, first of all, you're clearing out all of your vessels. But secondly, it's sending a lot of dopamine and serotonin to your brain, and you just can't help but feel better after. And
that's why, I play every Sunday at Alfond Arena, which is the nicest rink in the state of Maine. Not sorry. Thank you, Harold Alfond and Greg Powell.
Sorry, was that a sponsorship?
Yeah, no. Maybe.
Maybe.
They don't pay us to do this,
no.
Right? But I play. Do I feel like, late at night or early in the morning, and when it's a snowstorm and below freezing, to go and play hockey? Not really, but then I just think I feel so great afterwards.
After you're done, yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like having a baby for all of you who may or may not have. And right after you have the baby, you think, as you're going through it, you think, what? This is, I'm not doing this again, right? You're turned inside out. But then after, and you're holding your little darling, you say like, not a problem. I could do this 100 times. That's your brain telling you. I have
heard that that's the experience. I don't believe that I've ever had that experience.
Well, you had twins. So.
I believe it was, this is enough for me. So we're kind of to the end of the podcast here. And so really the point is positive energy attracts positive energy. Negative energy attracts negative energy. So when you're surrounded with negativity or a different situation, like be the positive person in the room.
And that's easier said than done.
Oh, it's so hard to do. Take the breath, stop yourself, think to yourself, is this something I can control? Is it something I can change? Do I want to make a difference here? Do I want to do anything different? And if, you answer those questions, they're like, no. Now take your power back, take a deep breath, and this is the situation, and control how you react to it. And just, it's so easy to say, just be positive. But the more you practice and the more that you are like, well, let them, they are yelling at me right now, and they are just, that person probably, every behavior has meaning. So that person probably, who knows what they went through. And so when you can look at somebody and you can take it off of it's a reflection of me and it's actually what is going on with them, you just, okay.
So
I'm really sorry you're having a bad day.
Which was Sunday morning.
And so I'm here to support you, but I'm not going to pick up that energy from you.
And I mean, I'm not saying that we certainly don't have the answers. We are not medical professionals, and anything that we say or do or recommend is just our opinions. There's our little disclaimer right now. It's not to be used to help treat or diagnose any medical condition or disease. It's just our opinions.
And the names might be changed in order to protect them, except for my mom. Her name is Mom, because that's her name. So
And mine is Dad, my dad.
So we won't change those names.
But I mean, the thing is, though, please listen to podcasts that you like. Listen to people that you really admire and want to be like, or read their, or follow them on social media. That is all good.
And leave us in the comments. Subscribe to our channel. Leave in the comments.
Follow us on all the social media.
All the social medias. But what this week, take some time and think about what this week irritated you. What is the situation that irritated you this week? What stole your energy this week? And what could you have done, or what can you do in the future to keep control and
to get your power back,
and get your own power back, and keep your own energy.
Don't give your power away.
No, it's too valuable.
Too valuable.
So remember, thank you for joining us, and we'll continue next week. We have chapter.
We're halfway through the book, so we want to make sure that we talk about
5, 6, and 7.
All the goodness in this book, and anyone who comments, subscribes, or leaves us a message, we would love to do a drawing for a book.
Yeah, this book.
Yes.
The actual Let Them book. We'll give it away, any subscribers and commenters.
And oh, by the way, we don't have, I don't know Mel. I feel like
I know her. Because she's like talks to my soul.
Right.
But we don't know
her.
So
we're not affiliated with them. We
just bring you what works for us.
Value. We're trying to bring you value.
So next week, the chapters we're going to review is Let Them Think Bad Thoughts About You. That's a hard one. How to Love Difficult People. That's even harder. And then When Grown-Ups Have Tantrums.
Thank you, beautiful gems, for listening today and watching.
We'll continue next week's episode 4, and we'll be continuing the talk, the secret monster inside of you.
Please follow us on YouTube, TeddiTalks.
Don't forget to subscribe. You can also find Teddi-Jann at msha.ke/Teddi.Jann. Those are 2 N's, Jann. And if you want to follow my journey with the Wellness Lounge, you can do so at rnwellnesslounge.com, and of course all of our social media channels. So as a disclaimer, as always, we want you to know that all episodes and personal stories are our beliefs, our opinions, and they're not to be substituted for advice from a professional provider. Stories and names sometimes might be changed to protect the other side. And remember, it's okay to take care of yourself and celebrate you no matter what age.
This is true, and we are very grateful and appreciative of Selfie Space located in Bangor, Maine.
Check them out.